good morning, and welcome to Social Services Corner. I'm Marcia Wilson, the manager of social services here in Laguna Woods Village. Our topic today is all about relationships, how couples can create a satisfying relationship or revive a relationship that may have grown stale. Our special guest today is Dr. Bill Cloke. He's a PhD. He's a frequent talk radio psychologist and a contributor to Psychology Today. With a marriage and family therapy practice in Century City for the past 30 years, Dr. Cloke has now written an insightful new book entitled Happy Together, Creating a Lifetime of Connection, Commitment, and Intimacy. Welcome to the program, Dr. Cloke.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Glad to have you. We've got many long married couples in our community, marriages of 40 and 50 years, and others may have been widowed and now they're building new relationships. When it comes to keeping relationships going, we've kind of relied on the example of our parents or on those families that we watched on TV years ago to help us define and create good relationships. Your book, Happy Together, provides some much needed practical tips to help men and women create and keep a happy relationship. Now, one of the ideas that you strongly encourage is that we keep our relationship expectations realistic and avoid romantic myths. Valentine's Day is coming. I can think of no other romantic mythological holiday that generates so much heat and hope and hype and often leaves so many disappointed. Tell me about the myths that we hold on to.
Well, the higher the expectation, the greater the disappointment. So that mythological process is like growing up with Ozzie and Harriet and Leave It to Beaver and all those different shows, and television, movies, music, and all these things contribute to a kind of myth about what love should be. And so the greater those expectations tend to be, sometimes the greater the disappointment. So, fortunately I had a chance to know Ozzie and Harriet and the family, and they were a family like any other family. They had problems just like everybody else in real life. So that's kind of a fun little segue, but it is true that we have to develop a sense of what's realistic. And what's realistic is that their conflict is normal, and people get angry normally, and there are disagreements and annoyances and things that come up as a product of daily life. And the better we are able to kind of work them through easily and efficiently, then they can kind of pass through very quickly. So what happens is couples tend to have the same argument over and over again, but they don't always know what they're arguing about.
And nothing gets resolved.
And it just cycles around and around and around. And so we try to help people to figure out what's really causing it, get to what the real problem is, and then find some real solutions. And we have some step-by-step processes.
In your book, I started reading last weekend and I really enjoyed it. You use client vignettes to illustrate ways that we can push our partner away, and we're not trying to. Right. And you offer some simple strategies that remind us how to communicate that brings our partner closer.
Right.
Like, conflict is inevitable, differences are desirable, empathy is required, humor helps. Tell me some things that we need to remember when there are differences and conflict. You say it's normal?
Yes. No one's the same. No one grew up the same. No one has this exact same background. So you're going to disagree. It's inevitable. It happens. But what I try to help people to do is take a beat. Think about what you're going to say before you say it. Just take a moment. A lot of couples don't like to bring anything up because they think, well, if I do that, then there's going to be a big fight, and it's going to go down that same road, and it never accomplishes anything, so why bring it up? Which, to some degree, is true. You have to figure out which ones you want to try to work on and which ones you want to try to let go. When to hold them and when to fold them, kind of thing.
Yes.
But one of the major things we try to do is cool off, and then when you are talking, just acknowledge one another. Just that one simple thing can change the whole process of a communication. Just to say to the other person, I really hear what you're saying. You're telling me that these and these things are true for you, and vice versa. Sometimes just doing that will end the whole thing right there.
Do you find that men and women use the language differently? When they say men are from Mars and women are from Venus, sometimes women expect men to read their minds.
Right.
Men don't do that.
Men are not mind readers.
They're
So
not.
you have to tell people what they want, what you want.
What
and
you want. And
you
hope that they
need and
right.
what you would like to see. And of course, trying to figure out in any problem, what's my part in this? What did I bring to this process? That's what most people have the biggest trouble with. It's easy to see the other person.
To point the finger.
But we have complete blindness oftentimes with ourselves because we're too close to the subject.
We are.
You know, we're subjective, not objective. So we try to do something called inter-reflection. So we try to listen well to what our partner's telling us because they oftentimes know us a lot better than we know ourselves. And really being able to do that is a way of being able to see what we're doing if we can trust their point of view, which is another important process, is to learn to trust our partner to give us good information about what's going on so we can make some corrections and then get into a better process so each person feels like their needs, their wants, their feelings are being heard. And then you try to push for production, you know, where people are actually trying to do those things that are helpful. And when couples can see the other person trying, it means a lot. Doesn't mean you have to do it every time or be completely successful, but that effort means a lot. You know, so.
I'm wondering if people come to you sometimes with the idea, I need you to fix my Herbie because he's driving me nuts.
Right.
We can't change our mates, can we? We can't change them,
No.
but we can change our response.
We can change our attitude. We can bring things out that we want the other person to look at so they can make the changes. But we have to learn to accept people the way they are.
The way they are.
And we can't personally, just like in my practice, I work with people all the time. I personally can't change them. I can point out what's going on. I can give them processes and tools that they can use to make significant changes in their life, but they have to do it. They have to want to do it.
Throughout your book, you cite different people's studies and research. You cited the seminal work of John Gottman, who wrote about the 7 principles for making a marriage work.
Yeah.
He identifies 4 destructive styles of conflict that lock people in negativity. We're getting low on time, but
Yeah.
what are those 4 killer relationship strategies?
Well, John Gottman researched over 12,000 couples, and what he came up with is that when criticism, defensiveness, contempt, and stonewalling are going on in a relationship, these are predictors for divorce or bad relationships. So we know that doesn't work. But also I've developed an anagram called CURE, which is compassion, understanding, respect, and empathy. And if we're using those processes, both how we are with ourselves and with one another, we're much more likely to have a better process going on. It's just hard to do.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen. The book is called Happy Together. I want to thank you, Dr. Cloke, for being my guest today on Social Services Corner. You offer couples some very effective strategies for creating a happier, more fulfilling life together. Happy Together. It's available at Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com. Bill has a website, www.billcloke.com or www.happytogetherbook.com. I'm Marcia Wilson, and I'll see you here next time.